Welcome everybody in the investment forum.
Well, I think we're going to get started. Firstly, thank you so much for welcoming us to your wonderful country. This is my first time. I know this is... How many times have you been here now, Tim?
At least 300, 400 times.
400 times. My first. And what about you?
It's my second
now,
time.
Second time. So thank you for joining us. Everybody's been incredibly hospitable and friendly, and we're excited to talk about something that we're very passionate about and something that we have very different backgrounds and entries into this world of conferences, experiences, and how they transform, of course, events, and how they transform economies and culture through soft power, an enormous influence. So what I want to do is, we have some videos to share with you, and rather than show them in one batch, we're going to divide them up. But we'd also love to invite you to ask any questions, so we'll do a bit of talking and then invite you for a Q&A. So I might start with you, Tim.
You're going to start with me?
I'm going to start with you. Now, Tim is, we're going to show his video. Tell me when you're ready. Wrong video. Stop video. Stop video. That's mine.
We can show that one if you
Sneak
want.
peek. We're going to show, which one would you like to show?
We'll show WWE.
All right, so I'm going to tell you, this is a fellow Australian, Tim. He does nothing small. He likes to live life events and impact large. So let's see one of them. Would you like to... Impressive. Tim, all right, tell us about that.
Well, I've been lucky enough to do the last 5 WWEs here in both Jeddah and Riyadh. And you know, if we're going to put this in the context of soft power, this is a bullhorn approach to soft power, basically, from a positioning piece for Saudi, and it's a generational brand build play as well, which we were discussing last night. But really, really good fun to do, and completely shot for television. Like, this is not truly a live event, you know, and it's becoming a rite of passage here. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, the fans are actually mad, and it's really, really good fun to get into this project itself.
I was saying to Tim last night that there's, you know, The Rock is the biggest paid actor in the world, and we all know where his career started.
It started there, right?
Because it's total entertainment. But I love what you said about it is intergenerational entertainment.
I agreed, but this has been harnessed in such a way, like it's such a piece for Saudi, you know, because it seems like a misnomer. And you know, this is talking to the American audience, because predominantly this particular entertainment brand is consumed majority in the US and around the world, of course, but their core fan base is there. But who actually watches it? Which are the kids? It's the next generation that are the uber fans of this. So it's great to see how that's actually been tied together as a soft power play to look at the brand of Saudi in that sort of context as well. And that's the subvert side of this. Yes, it's a great piece of entertainment, but actually for a brand play, it's quite an interesting brand play.
I'm just going to add, Tim's the sort of person that you go to with a problem, always, and an ambition, And the sort of things that Tim has created and cultivated experience and impact goes from everything from the Pope to Queen Elizabeth II. I mean, the list goes on from, from wrestling theatre. I mean, how does one come to you now? What are you interested to do, and what is the impact you're interested to make? Because you are a man with choices now in what you do.
What I would say on that front, look, I really enjoy the golf. Like, I've lived here for 17 years. This is home, you know, and I think, to be frank, this was really bad, this feedback. To be frank, the area's had a really bad rap in the Western media for many, many years. And, you know, positioning not just Saudi, but the whole region that way is something that's a passion project, basically. You know, so I'm up for it. Like, that's the fun. It's not about how much money we can make. It's, you know, that's a byproduct.
I said to Tim, he looks constantly amused with anything he's doing, which is a great way to approach work on what we do. I want to now segue to you, Daryl. Daryl's got entirely different type of passion and career and impact, but should we start with also, he's obviously the director, the festival director of the International Radio Festival, 10 years in the making, and I've told him I love listening to radio. It's a great companion for me in life. But you're doing something very special. But should we start with the video and then we'll segue into that? But the video, please, of the International Radio Festival.
Oh,
that's the wrong one.
That's okay. We can go with this one.
Yes, a bit more of you, Tim.
Yeah, so what
But while we wait for that, tell us when you're ready. Maybe a quick, Daryl, introduction into your passion, but how you started this.
Well, first of all, it's great to be here. It's my second year. I find incredible the opportunities that the doors are opening, especially in regarding events and exhibitions like this exhibition here. The Radio Festival is quite special because actually it's an on-air event that takes place, travels a bit of a circus. It travels from location to location. So the main essence of it is it's an on-air event for the heartbeat of radio, for the anchors and for the producers to get together. And but by default, because they showcase each other's shows to each other, they're broadcasting it live back to their home audiences. And like that, it generates incredible reach, sometimes over 100 million listeners for, over 3, 4, 5 days.
What's that statistic? 4 people can reach how many? You had a great statistic on the reach of radio.
Well, it all depends really how many listeners the radio station has. And for example, we've had student radios from Montpellier who have maybe a couple of thousand listeners across the town, across the city. But then again, we featured like RJ Malishka from India in Red FM. She's got 60 million listeners. It's crazy.
And how do you see something like that format coming to a place like Saudi Arabia?
Well, I think radio is the accompanying medium. It's all about storytelling. It's not just here's the next track and the weather is this and the traffic is that. It's storytelling. It's keeping people company during their listening experience. And of course, if they have something to talk about, and they're visiting a country such as Saudi, there's a lot of experiences they're going to share with their listeners. It already starts with that they're going. That's already a story. Radio, daily radio is almost like a soap. It carries on from one day to the next. The anchor would say, hey guys, listeners, do you remember what I said yesterday because we were going to do this today? Or don't forget, tomorrow we're going to be going out and about. So if they have the chance of visiting a new location, because they're normally in a studio, they're arriving at the airport, they're getting their taxi, they're seeing the sights outside, they're meeting the locals, they're going out and about to buy souvenirs, to discover stuff. They're all going to share all of that with their listeners. So it's incredible, by default, powerful destination marketing channel, which doesn't really normally exist or is available to the promotion of a location or a host city and destination.
Let's see if we can get that video to start. Are we... How are we doing there?
That's a big camera you have there.
Not yet?
Huh?
Okay, well...
Well, maybe you can play it with the undertitles then,
yeah.
with the subtitles. Say again?
Sorry to keep you.
All right, let's jump
All
to
right,
yours.
well, let's segue a little bit.
Let's just jump to
I'm going
yours.
to tell you a little bit what while we wait for that, because I know Tim also. We all started in radio. It's a great place where you hone the ability to deal in live events, live storytelling, and things don't always go to plan, do they, Darryl?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I also started in radio, but one of the things that I'm really proud of is when I see what you have done, especially both of you. I know what it is to run a festival. I came from a media background as well. I used to be head of entertainment for a network called Al Jazeera. And then I went into the event space and set up the Doha Tribeca Film Festival with the Robert De Niro Group. And then we did the Doha Film Institute. And then we started making films. And it was huge. And I wish I'd known you then, because I would have called you up and said, come help us. And 50,000 people came to those events. And what I was really proud of, and I think this is what's happening in Saudi Arabia right now, is we rebranded the country. We became now I'm immensely proud to say that Qatar is also a filmmaking nation. And we created 100 women who now write films. And it's entirely shifted in 12 years. And I'm no longer there, but I'm very proud of the legacy. And that's one of the things of soft power. But on the opposite to that, and Tim and Darryl both know this, is while we can do enormous things for massive impact that reverberates, I also care about the smaller things that can have massive impact and change the way people relate, how their lives are on a micro scale. And I think since COVID as well, a lot of our values have changed. So I'm going to show you the very opposite. I'm going to show you the smallest thing I've ever done, and in a beautiful Greek island called Hydra, which is an hour and a half, because the Greek economy is recovering and they now have a 40% film rebate, and they wanted to bring attention to a very beautiful island and to get people excited about making films there. So we did a tiny 3-day curated weekend, which became one of the most successful screening events that brought together the locals and brought together foreigners and film producers, and is now going to continue each year. We call it Art Cinema. Now, just to give you a quick idea, it's not trying to be a film festival. I'm now interested in events that are intersections of film and art. So I'm going to quickly show you this. I'll leave you on my babyish event, and thank you all for joining. Is that it? Is it over already?
Huh?
Ένα φεστιβάλ το οποίο θα ενώσει ουσιαστικά το σινεμά, τον κινηματογράφο και τις τέχνες. Είδα κάτι το οποίο είχαμε και εμείς στη δική μας αποστολή, ένα πάθος για το καινούργιο. Ένα πάθος για να κάνουμε κάτι το οποίο θα πήγαινε την Ελλάδα και τον κινηματογράφο της χώρας στο επόμενο στάδιο.
Bravo.
It's a lovely place to work. I think, how long do we have? I've got some time because I want to come back to Darryl. So just to finish that up, that is we've been immensely proud. We've created jobs, transfer of knowledge, but it's also an international event, but it's on the small scale. And similarly to like these two gentlemen, it's a lovely idea to bring these concepts as intersectionality as well, that it doesn't have to be just a film festival. And I'd also encourage anybody entrepreneurial that if you're not buying in a big brand from outside, you can create your own, because I think we're at a time now where events are transforming, experiences are transforming, and we can do things that are different. Have we got the video yet for Daryl? Is it able to work? Okay, so let's come back to you, Tim.
Oh, God, really? So something like that, like what was your key takeaway for the local economy? I'm going to flip it. I'm going to ask the question.
For the which economy? For the
local economy.
For the local economy, well, that's a great question. I mean, I'm very popular with the business vendors now. What does it do? It creates jobs on every single level. In terms of restaurants, hotels, we didn't want mass tourism because we don't need mass tourism. We wanted to elevate the type of people who were coming to spend their time there. But also we have a mission, and that is we want to make incredible films.
Yeah.
And so I made sure that the people we invited knew that they weren't coming just for a party. They were coming for a mission-led Greek internationals, come here for business and let's make films together.
See, and that's what I would say. Like, most people just think an event is an event. But generally an event with purpose. All events have a purpose. And what a lot of people don't understand is they are messaging vehicles, right? This is where the soft power starts to play. You know, a well-crafted event can amplify across multiple channels, both locally, regionally, internationally. You know, and you look at that, like you look at the seasons, right? The seasons were designed to create an economy. They were designed to diversify the economy here in Saudi, you know, and create a whole new sector. We're currently sitting in that sector, you know, right now. And that's what I would say. And I think that's quite interesting from an aspirational perspective. So from small things, big things grow, is what I would say.
I agree. I love complexity. I think that even something like that looks simple, but the complexity of how much you can touch lives and change lives, as well as serving the business objectives of a country or wherever you are. So Daryl, I feel like...
Why don't I ask some questions? Well, because I think you two have two great examples. This is very boutique, bringing a festival which attracts international visitors, attendees, to a beautiful place like Hydra, the Hydra Island in Greece. They're coming primarily, obviously, for your festival, but their journey there is an experience in itself, before the experience. They're posting, aren't they? They're sharing it with their friends and communities that they're going. They're obviously also reporting, covering your festival, but they're going out about in town. What kind of feedback do you get from the patrons and partners that you work with, that how that benefits them beyond you just bringing culture and a lot of knowledge in the film world? What else resonates in regards to their experience and the stories they tell about the place they visited?
It's interesting when it really falls under also the banner of what are people looking for from immersive experience now. And what they want from the beginning is, we know people care about nature, we know people care about sustainability footprint. From the minute they think about coming to that event, most people are not just thinking about the event, they're thinking about the entire experience arc that they're going to have, and will it be sustainable, and is it going to give back to a community? One of the things that was really important for me is, and I did this in Doha as well, we had a great in Doha it was a 5-day event, in Ida it's 3 days, but the commitment is year-round. So the relationships that we're actually trying to build are not come here for 3 days and think about it is, come and build a relationship for years to come. So I'm inviting people through the year to come and do a workshop, to come and write their script. I would love to see some Saudi creatives come and do a week-long writing workshop on a new series and us help cultivate your creativity there, and vice versa. I want reciprocal relationships with people. So I'm not sure I'm entirely answering it, but I think the idea for me is never I'm doing an event. I think that I'm creating always cultural, immersive platforms. And sometimes I even use the word collectives, because I'm interested in us all connecting and doing business together and creating together. And I don't want to meet you once. I want to build the long-term relationships.
Are you, for example, finding that, for example, especially the professionals that you are inviting that are attending your festival, by the discovery of Greece in this case, are they discovering and thinking about opportunities of perhaps coming back to Greece and producing their own content there, bringing productions there, collaborating with local stakeholders in the industry?
Yes, because we always make sure, just like I would love to do something like that here as well, we always make sure that we are making sure that the Greeks are meeting the internationals, and they are always at the foremost that we're building long-term business and creative relationships between them. So it's not, I have a real thing about importing and just landing and imposing something into a place. I always like grounds up. So when you say what do they walk away with, I have to say, just to mention, during the day we do art exhibitions, during the night we do film. I couldn't get people out of some of the artist studios. They were having such a good chat and building friendships for a lifetime. So it's human.
And it's also caused an opportunity for your industry to discover local talent, I imagine, by default.
But I'll say I'm not restricting myself to film. I love the idea that we're going to teach local Greeks or those who come to do a podcast to cover it on their radio show. For me, it's the possibilities are endless and just storytelling per se.
So Tim, I'm going to ask you the same thing. I mean, it's obviously a pretty big production in Saudi. How many attend that event?
The one in Jeddah is about 16,500.
Okay.
The one here in Riyadh, Mosul, I think was 26,000, and then we did it in the other arena, which is about 14,000. So
it's a pretty big gig for the location, for the country, but obviously it's also broadcast overseas.
Yes.
So what kind of reach does that generate, and how much of the storytelling transfers into it's taking place in Saudi?
Well, literally, they branded quite well. So you've got like the Crown Jewel event, which was originally designed for Saudi. I can't announce what's coming this year, but there's some quite interesting ones coming this year as well. But it is really well positioned. You know, they go out and shoot all their B-roll around the cities. You know, they engage with the children's hospitals. They do a whole heap of stuff around special needs as well. So, yeah, it's quite an interesting machine when you actually see it. And it's a travelling machine. They do 150 live events a year, WWE, right? So it's a very, very well-oiled machine, and it is built for broadcast. So.
And of course, the stars, the talent in the ring, they have their own communities which they're communicating with. And have you seen that they also tell their own story of
they absolutely
of the experiences outside the ring?
Yeah, definitely. You know, they had one of the wrestlers went and did Umrah, and it was telecast all over the world for going to Mecca and doing Umrah. So for Ramadan. Yeah, anyone got any questions?
Is there anybody who has any questions? And also, please feel free to come up afterwards if there's anything you want to ask specifically. But does anyone have a question here at all? Hello. Can I?
Hello, everyone. It's great to seeing you here. I'm really pleasure to speak with you guys. You are really big guys, and I really take pleasure of this. In my opinion, I came here late, but I take my point about the exhibition of conference. In my opinion, what the future of the soft power of culture, like why the economic industry making the like they try to evolution the soft power and also the culture of economic. What is the main point of it?
You want me to answer this one? All right, look, the beauty
Yeah.
of culture is a lot of people think culture, you hear the word culture, you think heritage to start with, right? And don't get me wrong, it's definitely part of it. But culture is today, culture is tomorrow, right? So, and look, Saudi, 60%, more than 60% of you are below 30 years old, right? So the culture's a new culture, right? Now that doesn't take anything away from the historical and the heritage side of things. So I think there's a real opportunity there because you've got some amazing creative talents. When you start looking at how that translates, look, I do a lot of what you would term soft power between countries from that sort of side. And normally it's in cultural exchange, which is normally based in either art or heritage, right? Basically. But in this medium, in media itself and the ability to create shows and tell stories, like I think, you know, everybody watches Squid Games, right? It's a Korean piece. It's not very well dubbed, but we all love it, right? You all binge it. There's nothing saying that can't happen from here, and that basically boils down to storytelling more than anything. And you know, you've got more than 8,000 years of culture here that you can pull stories from. You know, even tying people's tongues, you know, so they couldn't be poets and push it forward, you know, and all of these sorts of bits and pieces. It was a great line you told me last night, and I took it and used it. But you know, like the whole peninsula, right, and the cultural side and of just the welcoming, like it doesn't happen in the West, right? Like, you know, to be invited to somebody's house that you've just met for lunch with the family, this does not happen in the West. You know, all of these nuanced pieces is really funny because, and I was saying this last night as well, you know, if you're trying to talk to someone like me, you actually need me to be telling you what I actually want to see, right? And it's all the things that you take for granted. It's things like gawa and all the stories around gawa, right? How many you actually drink. You know, you drink one, you're a rich man if you had 3 dillas, right? It wasn't because you had 3 dillas, it's because you had the water in the desert, right? Those nuanced places, which you all take for granted, are the bits that we find really fascinating, right? So that's what I would sort of say. Sometimes it's good to engage that outside view to actually help you amplify the culture because that's your target audience is who you should be listening to as well. So there's always interesting plays when sort of looking at this side of things as well. But it's very nuanced, very, very nuanced.
I think we're finished. I just want to. We have another question. Sorry.
Hello, this is Ibrahim. My question to you, Amanda, since we see this an amazing art cinema festival in Hydra, Greece, am I gonna see something gonna happen in Saudi, either in Riyadh or Al Ula or maybe Red Sea, to make that happen as our transformation? Am I gonna see a virgin in Saudi Arabia?
Oh, you're a good wingman. Thank you, Ibrahim. Look, I am the reason I'm here is to see the new Saudi. I've never been. I want to understand also these values that I didn't know exist, that you care about wellness, that there's a new generation that really does want to connect also with their own stories, to your point, and to work with other internationals in a way that is not, that is purely the meeting of minds and skills and creativity. You might make a film in Greece, they might come here. I mean, the true interconnectivity of the world. So the reason I would love to see some of the beautiful parts and more remote parts of Saudi Arabia, and to try and conjure up something as intimate and remote but as powerful and mission-led as the things that I care about. And that is really about storytelling in film and bringing people together and making sure that we can also give you great jobs, because the entertainment is business as well as creating culture. We have to make sure that we can generate a business that's sustainable. Thank you for the question.
And if you were going to ask me the question, which of course you were, yes, we would also like to bring the radio festival here, because you know, Saudi and the MENA region generally are a very high percentage of radio listeners. It's part of the daily media mix, and by bringing the radio festival here, by default, they would be telling their own stories to their listeners and the communities back home. And they'll be seeing that this is